Howdy. Give it a buck. I don't really know what to say. This is all new to me. But basically, probably won't be doing game content anymore. First, let me go ahead and say my apologies, y'all. Friends, family, fans. Alright. I've been gone for a while. And to be honest, it might be a little bit longer. Because of some I'm having some mental health issues, basically. It's not from necessarily overworking, but just life in general. Going through a whole lot of stuff right now. And obviously, for those of y'all who know, it's in my bio as well. I'm in the military, so I'm going through some stuff, pretty heavy stuff. Not necessarily alone, but technically alone. Even though I know mine's not the best, I love to help and talk to others about, their own spirituality, their religion, their own mental health, right? I'm non-denominational Christian, so I'm still considered Christian, right? But I don't typically go to church a lot or anything like that. And from the household I lived in, it was originally a Christian household, but I went to a Catholic school, and eventually my family switched to a whole more spirituality kind of deal, right? So basically, I've been thinking about it for a very long time, since I was younger, with storytelling. Eventually I'll have a crew, whatever, or I can find a freelancer, or I'll figure out how to do it my damn self, right? How to edit and make my own animations and stuff. For this thing to be more appealing, but basically for this one I just want to give you all a rundown of, my life and how I say somehow or somewhat overcame where I got to be where I'm at now, right, in the military. Granted, like I said, I'm going through other stuff, but maybe it'll help others feel like they're not alone, and that maybe people have a better understanding of me. I don't know, hopefully. But yeah, I'll try to keep this short, but to be fair, when I start talking, I start talking. I just go on a rant. I'm sorry if I look tired. I look very tired. I am tired. Beyond physically tired. I'll say. I'm really drained. I just want to go home, back to Texas, and see my family, see my little brother for a while. I haven't seen my family in 2 years, so yeah, basically for this one, like I said, I just want to give a rundown of my life, and then we'll go from there. Start going through other little stories. So like I said in the beginning, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but my friends, family, and fans, I apologize for my disappearance and reappearance here and there, and I'm sorry for my inconsistency. Just know that whenever I can, I will try my absolute best to get back into this as much as I can. So in short, for those who know and don't know, new or old, obviously I'm known as SMHEC, but our family and friends know me as William, obviously. I was originally born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio. Single mother. Her name is Beatrice Shantae Stringer. Beautiful woman. She's beautiful. I mean, she was very big on African American history, and she saw us as a family. Just even though it's just me and her, she always called me her prince. To be king someday. And she was just a queen in a king's position. She had to do so much. Because I didn't have my dad. Basically, my dad was in jail for 10, 11 years of my life. I never really had a dad in my life, obviously, growing up with a single mother. So I didn't really have a father figure. I didn't have any genuine man in the house to show me how to be a man and how to basically, live up to him and become one, right? Like I said originally in the beginning, that I was a Christian household, and then eventually we stepped kind of away from the whole Christianity and things like that. But basically, let's go back into my mom. My mom worked back then. It was like Kroger facility, like a headquarters, basically. For those who don't know what Kroger's is, it's like a H-E-B in Texas, or like I guess I'm in the UK. In the UK, like a Tesco. All right, but it's the headquarters of it. So back office bullshit. And then eventually, over time, I think my mom was very good at hiding exactly what it was. It was either she quit or got fired. She ended up doing working at was known back home as the Salvation Army program. It was a program for homeless people and just home shelters, foster homes, things like that, and after school for kids program, right? Sorry, I keep touching the camera because it's unlocked, so I'm not turn that off. And basically, times I used to talk to a lot of, homeless people and people going through problems and things like that, but they were all good people. They didn't really have much in life, and I got to see that, up front with my own eyes, and it showed me a lot. But me being young, it was scary because I was at a school called Resurrection. This is the Catholic school I was in. This is when me and my mom were still considered Christian, or Christian household. I was getting bullied there in the school, somewhere between 3rd grade and up, and all the friends I thought I had at the time started bullying me, whatever. This is when I had my first experience of being excluded from basically everything. I mean, shit, we was in the same basketball team and they still bullied me. This is when I started to first close my doors to my emotions, and I stopped letting people in, and I slowly started to become socially awkward. I didn't even trust the adults at the school. It was that bad. They called me names, N-word too as well, which is crazy. We're kids and being called the N-word from some little Caucasian boy at the time. And eventually I had no friends. I couldn't trust the adults in the school. I eventually just started skipping school a lot, like a whole lot. I'd wake up, Mom, I don't want to go to school. I don't want to deal with those people. And she was like, okay, I feel you. So eventually I got to the point where I started staying home a lot. Obviously, I ended up catching up on school and all that good stuff, but I never really got to talk to those kids again once I eventually left. But within this time frame of 3rd grade to I think 4th or 5th, my my dad got out of jail. His name is William as well. I basically inherited his name. My middle name is the name of my two twin brothers I had before me, but they didn't make it. They were gonna name one my last name, which is Runyon, and then my middle name, Datron. So I inherit the names William Datron Runyon Jr. I'm basically like the third or fourth or whatever. But yeah, my dad got out of jail. He entered my life. I saw him a few times, right? It was cool to think that like, hey, like I actually have a dad, Well, my dad was a heavy drinker, and I guess he still saw me as a child at the time. But you have to like keep in mind that like I'm already like what, 10, 11, right? Yeah, a young age, but a single mother, and within the entire time frame I was bullied and excluded, right, from everything. I couldn't trust anyone. I got in fights all the time. I got to the point where I just didn't even want to get up and go to school. I just wanted to stay home and mind my business, right? And my dad was trying to build this relationship with this little boy that just didn't exist anymore, Like, you missed your time, and I'm sorry, but as much as I love you, it's like, it just wasn't the same, And I don't necessarily know if my dad knows that even now, because I haven't really talked to him like that ever since. Time went by, right? Like I said, he got into my life, he tried to build a relationship with me. For a little bit, I thought it was cool, but it really wasn't, because 3 years later, within that time frame, my mom ended up having my brother, which was cool. Which I didn't even say that. I basically have like 9 fucking siblings. My dad moved around a lot. I'm the eldest son, for what I know, I'm the eldest son. The third eldest, I have 2 older sisters. One's also in the military, Army, and then one, I'm not too sure what she does, but I think she was in college, but I think she graduated a few years ago. And after she had my brother, around this time, my parents took me out of school because they said they wanted to homeschool me. Obviously, they really couldn't. And my mom eventually got sick. And in this time frame, I stopped focusing on school entirely. And I just took care of my mom and my brother while my dad was at work. Sorry. Flashbacks. And wasn't always easy, but it was the only thing I really gave a fuck about was taking care of my mom. And within the mix of me getting bullied in school at that time and getting in fights all the time, I didn't really think about what did I, William Runyon, want to do for my life. What did I want to do? And when my mom used to ask me sometimes, she's like, what do you want to be when you get older? I said, Mom, I don't give a fuck about what I want to be. I just know I want to take care of you. That's it. Take care of you until your time comes. I never had a life goal. I was never one of those kids saying, I want to be a firefighter, I want to be an astronaut, or, anything of that nature. My fucking hoodie's inside out. Anyways, I was like, yeah, I didn't have any, goals like that. I just wanted to take care of you. It always put a smile on her face, but I think it also saddened her without me knowing, I felt like deep down she probably felt like she failed me. She was a very intelligent woman. but very heartbroken. And I can honestly say that what I inherited from my mother, besides her beauty, is her very warm heart. It's very calming, but it hurts a lot. Our kind of love and support and warmth that we have for this world is so great that people will never truly understand what it like means to have a heart like ours. Especially when she passed away. But let me get off track again. Sorry. Like I said, when I talk, I talk. So she's getting sick. My dad started trying to bounce around job to job. It was already kind of hard for him to get a job at the time because he had a criminal record and stuff. I was staying home a lot, watching my brother, watching my mom. My mom eventually didn't have the strength to get out, get up and go to work. And one time, a SWAT team literally busted through her back door, through the kitchen, and was coming up the stairs. And I ran down the stairs to see what the fuck's going on. And I see guns pointed at my fucking head. I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck? First time I ever seen a gun in my, well, that's a lie, but technically it's the first time I've seen a gun in my life. And I was like, shit, or at least pointed at me. And they were like, yeah, we had a report that, something might have happened to mom. And they were like, mom, was talking to her, to them, Basically, we were fine, but they had to fix the door and shit. To give a better picture of my house at the time, it was a blue, primarily color was blue with like red, like outlining on the windows and seals and shit. And basically the house owner was an old jackass. I could say that. Who knew the house was fucked up but didn't really report shit. Mom and dad just didn't know. It was really bad in the wintertime. We couldn't keep the heat. We could barely pay for it. The water and shit. And I remember for a few years, we had literally torn up garbage bag and plastic around the windows and tapes on the sills to try to keep heat in the wintertime. And literally the entire time, like, our feet are just frozen overnight. At that point, I was basically sleeping outside all the time. It was really bad. I mean, basically had a fucking jungle in the backyard. Good God. That shit was bad. I felt like fucking Tarzan in that hood. Mother's condition eventually looked like it was getting better, right? But then, I don't know what happened. We thought we were gonna move to Florida with my grandparents, somewhere around there. My mom's condition got worse to the point, like I said, she could barely move. My dad got like his friend's car or whatever, and we like drove, I don't know how far away, but basically we moved into like a motel or whatever. And at this time I'm like 12 years old. I'm skipping a lot of things, so I'm trying to like get to like the main shit at least. And my mom wasn't feeling the best. She had breast cancer. Basically fluid was building in her breasts down to like her stomach. And then it made her feel like she was like not hungry at all. So she wouldn't eat. She just wouldn't. Well, we tried to like make smoothies for her to like get some kind of nutrients, but basically she just starved herself to death. She just couldn't do anything. We were there for about 3 weeks, walking about 3 or 4 miles a day to go to the store to get groceries and things like that. Keep in mind, I still have my brother with me at the time. I think he was 1 or almost 1. At this time, I feel like I was the only sane person left to some degree. My dad was always drinking, lost, smoking somewhere. My mom was dying and I couldn't do anything. I felt powerless. I have a little brother, and making sure he's okay, watching over him, changing his diapers and whatever, And like I said, at this time, I was always angry all the time. I was never happy. I barely smiled. So that's why I have like a terrible RBF, just because I can't always tell if I'm like smirking, smiling, or whatever. But yeah, I was always angry all the time. I was lost. I was confused. I didn't know what to do. My mom was the only person I really give a fuck about in this world, I woke up every day asking, like, all right, how am I going to survive this day? I'll get into like greater details about certain days and things I went through later on. One day, we woke up and my mom couldn't move, like, at all. Couldn't sit up, couldn't move her hand, and when the ambulance came and whatever, they were trying to move her, it hurt her. I'm watching, and every time she groaned or said ow, I got angry. And at the time I was saying this because I was mad at them for hurting her, but really it was just because I couldn't do anything, I felt powerless, and that's what hurt the most. The fact that I felt like I couldn't do anything at all to help my own mother. I was like with a deadbeat dad who doesn't even know anything about me. So he's gonna take care of me, but it's like nothing I can do. We took her to this, I guess, shelter, home shelter, whatever. So with a bunch of medical patients and shit. She was laying there for a little bit. They were like, we'll try to do everything we can for her, whatever. And these are my last moments with my mother. I'm sitting next to her. They're talking to my dad or whatever. And I say to my mom, as I'm watching her trying to sit up and move her hand to me, I'm trying not to cry in the process, but I'm saying, like, Mom, it's gonna be okay. We'll try to find some way to communicate, To this day, I regret saying that. Those are my last words to my mom, What kind of son says it to their dying mom? It's gonna be okay. We'll find a way to communicate. Not a, I'm gonna be okay. Not we're gonna be okay. Not a, I love you, I showed my mom that I was weak, lost. Maybe that she felt like she failed me, Sorry, those are my rim sprays. Smells like Christmas in here. Sorry. But yeah, I said that to her. We left. 8 or 9 p.m. ish. We came home, laying down for a bit, just chilling. I was holding my brother. My dad got a call around 11 o'clock. Came back and told me, yeah, I'm sorry, son. Your mom passed away. I didn't cry. He held me, rubbed me, talking to me, saying, I'm sorry, son, I love you, I got you. All that good stuff. My brother's laying on the bed on his iPad, clueless, I was just looking at him. I wasn't really looking, I was spacing out. My head was on my dad's chest, as he was hugging me and shit. I was just there. Lost completely. Nothing mattered anymore. Alright, so we was laying down for a bit. I put on some anime. I couldn't even watch it. My brother was asleep, my dad was asleep. I got up. Warning, sensitive shit. I had a knife. I went to the bathroom, locked the door, and I just laid there. I sat on the door for a guarantee 4, maybe 5 hours that night. I bawled. I cried my eyes out. I cried and cried and cried and cried and cried. I had that knife in my hand, just sitting over my wrist, just hovering for a bit. Just thinking about, I don't know, it was weird. It was every memory I had with me and my mom just flowed. I was going to the park, seeing the Ohio River, just talking about, I think it's Mississippi River. Anyways, just talking about, life, what it means to eventually be your own king, to your own family, your own kingdom, to love, to accept love, to understand it, to be willing to be you. My mom was big on the most of anything that I've ever taken from my mom. Was to never take shit from anyone, no matter who they may be. But to always be loving, caring, supporting, and be true to yourself. Be who you are. Don't be afraid to be who you are, even if it may seem wrong to others. But to accept yourself and know that what you're doing is right because you're doing what you love. For me, I always dreamed. To some degree, I dreamed, but I've always said I wanted to at least be a streamer, and that's only because I saw the energy and the impact it had on other people, and it made me feel happy. It gave me joy seeing that. Specifically, I used to watch Expert Thief. I don't know if y'all know that. I think his name was LaShawn or Kevin. I don't really necessarily remember at that time, but he used to make GTA 5 videos. And I also used to watch Young Don the Sauce God a lot. Yeah, they were the only ones I really watched. But yeah, it's my mom walking around her African attire, her big afro, beautiful smile, showing her love and support and care for the world. How strong and passionate and resilient she was to her beliefs. But the mind is unchainable. it is the most powerful thing in this world, and I believe that. You know, you can literally do whatever you want, do what you want, keep going and go as far as you want if you just literally put your mind to it. Don't ever let someone stop you from being you or doing what you love, as hard as it may be. And trust me, I know this because I've been fighting my entire life. I don't remember a time where I genuinely had peace to some degree. I've done nothing but fail and fail and fail and over and over and over and over and over, and currently still failing. I'm 21 years old now. You know, as bad as it is now and how life is, military wise and civilian world, both sides of the coin are equally evil and difficult. And to be honest, right, I think it's really beyond the point of finding your purpose. It's really just being who you want to be. So yeah, as I sat there on that floor for those 4 to 5 hours, that knife over my wrist, I didn't know what to do. And it was like when I was going to do it, I had that big hole in my chest. The only thing keeping me alive on this planet was my mom's love and my mom in general being there with me. I don't know, I had this huge squeeze in my chest. I couldn't tell if it was my mom saying goodbye, giving me a hug, or if it was me feeling heartbroken. Like I don't know what it was. But I stood up, I felt that squeeze on my chest, and I just immediately stopped crying. I don't know what it was that really stopped me that night from doing it. But, obviously, I didn't do it. Wiped my tears, cleaned up the floor from whatever little blood there was, maybe. And put the knife away or whatever. I laid down, went to sleep. I woke up some time later. My aunt came and took me in that next day, me and my brother. I moved to Texas. First time on a plane, first time in a different state. But that'll be a story for a different time. Sorry, I know I keep going back and forth. This is fucking 35 fucking minutes of me just rambling. But this is something I wanted to do for a very long time. And this is something I want to do for a little bit of remaining time I have here. Because to be honest, like I said, I'm going through a lot of stuff. And I don't know where I will be in the future. So, I'm going to do what I can now. And, hope for the best. Again, I apologize for my family, friends, and possible fans for my disappearance and reappearance and all that good shit. Just know that I really am trying to at least give y'all something, but I really wanted to give everyone a rundown of me to some degree. Thank you for those who stayed and at least listened and gave a fuck about it. Obviously this is like I said, 30 goddamn minutes, and I don't know what the fuck the max is on Instagram. So this is going on my YouTube. In case y'all literally can't fucking tell, I am bald now. It's part of the process of me letting shit go, of moving on and starting over. in case y'all motherfuckers want to see. Yeah. Ain't too bad, ain't too bad. Yeah, no. Big ass dome. I know. But yeah. I don't know if y'all like Stitch. Yeah, I just wanted to give a little rundown. I know it's not as detailed or anything, but I'll get into it a little more later. I just wanted to give a somewhat summary of it. And I know I'm taking forever because this is my first time, and I'm not gonna do this a bunch of times. So I was like, fuck it, just one time, send it out raw, pause, and go from there. Again, thank y'all for those who stayed. Thank you for those who've been there with me since day one, and just continue to love and support me. I appreciate those of you, and I love y'all. Just know that whatever you're going through, someone has probably had worse or are going through the same shit. Keep your family and friends close, you know. Even though they say they want to help you, you don't like receiving help, just keep them close at least, you know. I understand that feeling of not wanting to accept help from others. So, let me turn this shit off and lay my black ass just, down. It's fucking, I don't know what time it is. It's fucking 11 o'clock. I took my ass to sleep before I get yelled at in the morning from my sergeant again. But yeah, I love y'all. Thank y'all so much. And I'm sorry for my inconsistency. I'm trying to do better. Thank y'all so much. Have a good night. Be safe, make good decisions, good choices. Take care of each other, take care of your friends and family, and let your family and friends help you and support you. And remember that mental health is a real fucking thing. It is not a disease. It is not a curse. But it's something very complex and more, right? Just gotta keep fighting, all right? So, love y'all. Have a good night. Much love. Peace out.